So why should we be interested in our own identity? Well, it's important. Identity, who we are and where we came from. I mean, these questions are in the mindset of everyone, or should be. It's an existential question. Who you are. You must know where you come from. What's your family background? What's your community background? What's your cultural background? And many a times people ask you, who are you? Tame kon cho? Who are you? What they mean is tame kewa cho? What are you made of? What is your character? Because once you know who you are, once he knows or she knows who you are, then he can establish a relationship with you. That's how marriages come about. That's how community is built up. That's how humanity progresses. It's by knowing each other. Relationship is so important. So who we are, where we came from, it's important because people perceive you and they make a decision about you, whether they want to become friend with you or not. That's why he's always trying to find out who you are. What's your values? Where you come from. Now, also, as a community, we should know where we came from, who we are. As a community, we have a history in Islam of 700 years. Everyone knew about that? We have a history in Islam of 700 years. That means we go back 700 years in Islam. And we have a community history of 160 years. And yet, if I were to ask any member of our community, define who you are, or give me your identity, he struggles. And yet, he sees a moving reality in front of him as a community functioning in the 21st century. We don't have land. Do we have land? We don't. Do we have a country? We don't. Do we have oil wells? We don't. And yet we have survived for 160 years. How come? What are our strengths? How come that we survived without all these resources? There must be something tangible there. It's a moving reality that we exist as a community. Khoja, Shia, Ithna, Muslim diaspora now, its sociological landscape is different. We cross boundaries of culture and belief every day. We meet different cultures every day. And therefore we are now spread throughout the world. The question is, how are we going to embrace our diversity? How are we going to, and diversity is one of the biggest problems that we face. Today, in the 21st century, the biggest issue in the world is one of identity crisis. Because if a young man doesn't know who he's about, where he's from, he does suffer a crisis. And this is not my research telling me, this is academic research telling us that the more you know about who you are, the better you are going to adapt in the globalized world. Otherwise you'll be blown off course. So it's very important that our Khoja, Shia, Ithna youngsters understand what their heritage is. But then what's the situation from the point of view of our youth and future generation? Basically, he doesn't understand, unfortunately, he doesn't understand what his socio-religious background is. And it's not his fault because there is no set programs to explain to him the rich heritage that he comes from. He knows that there is a community out there which is going to marry him, which is going to bury him, and is going to look after him, as we do during the crisis of Zanzibar, Somalia, Yemen now, Uganda. Wherever we faced the exodus, the community rallied around and looked after its brethren. So they have that understanding that the community out there is there for him. He's swimming in it, but he doesn't understand the legacy and the socio-religious history behind it. So the question that I normally ask to our youngsters is that what guarantee is there that this community will be there for you 50 years from now? What guarantee?